I need support staff to clear the room. Stand up and walk now.
Hello and welcome to The Watch. My name is Chris Ryan. I am an editor at TheRinger.com, and joining me on the other line, walking into this podcast like Joan Duran in the ninth inning, it's Andy Greenwald.
I think it's Johan.
I just looked up how to pronounce it and it said Johan. But that was Google. I mean, like, it might have been a bot. It might have been AI. I honestly haven't heard it. I only see these images background in the bar in Philadelphia. I'm here for an extended period of time dealing with some family stuff. But Andy, it's great to see your face. We wanted to do a pod just to make sure the muscle still works.
I feel like people also probably don't have a sense of how hard we work to bring this pod to the people, just in terms of the IT support that Kaya and John are providing. I mean, the other beautiful thing about this, Chris, is that at our age, it's wonderful to still be learning. You know, like, I learned how to use a second screen, not in the way that I check Instagram when I have to watch shows I don't like because you tell me we have to cover them. I mean, literally like a second monitor to get this going in my kitchen today.
It's big. It's big. You're not a huge office guy. Before we get into the stuff we're talking about today, let me do a little bit of housekeeping.
Sure.
It's The Watch at Spotify.com if you want to email us. It's Ringer-TV is the YouTube channel if you want to watch us there. You can also watch us on the Watch feed on Spotify, which is where I hope you're listening to us. Greenwald, we are also on Instagram at TheWatchPod_, marshaled by the great Kaya McMullen, who is producing us today. It's good to see you, man.
Do you think today's a real video show for us? I feel like we didn't need to broadcast the YouTube link.
I've been on YouTube a lot in the last couple of weeks. So I've been here in Philly, like I said, kind of have a family situation. But I have been doing a lot of compilation tapes of Tommy's lawyer from Landman. Doing different depositions. That's kind of where we're at. No, it's good to see you, man. What's going on with you? Do you want to just get into the topics, or is there any personal grievances you want to air?
Wow. I mean, I guess you didn't take me up on my suggestion to watch K-pop Demon Hunters since
I
we
did
last
not. I'm sorry.
Podcast. Okay, that hasn't really crossed your transom.
I think I get a get out of jail free card for the next couple of weeks.
I mean, you haven't seen Fantastic Four, so I get it. You're feeling a little culturally behind.
I'm going to try and get to the movies this weekend, though. I want to see Weapons.
Can I be honest with you?
Yeah.
I kind of want to see Weapons too. Do you think I can do it?
I think I could probably test it for you. How about that?
Okay, I appreciate that. Like, do you think, though, that you'll err on the side of, like, protecting my fragile sanity, or because it looks good and it looks kind of like a thinking person scary film? And I'm a thinking person.
A thinking person scary film. I think it has. I've successfully avoided everything about it. I see little bits and pieces of people kind of saying, "Oh, it reminded me of this," or "It reminded me of that." Sean has been an angel about not spoiling a single thing about it. Really? I really wish I could do the big pick with him about it, but I just haven't gotten a chance to see it yet. But I think I'm going to try and carve out some time to do that in Eddington this weekend.
For the record, I don't want it to seem like you're some great cinematic villain or betrayer, because I came to the pod today wanting to brag about seeing a movie that was released in theaters, I believe, in April.
Hey, we're going to talk about a show that was released in January, so it's okay.
Okay, great. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know, Chris, that I saw Black Bag.
Yep.
That was real sick.
Yep. That's awesome, man. Soderbergh's spy film written by David Koepp and starring Fassbender and Cate Blanchett.
I do want to ask you, though, so I think it's semi-relevant because it is streaming now. So maybe the people who didn't quite make it out to the multiplexes can dip into it. And I had two thoughts. We don't really need to get into it too deeply. I think it's so good. It's of such a high quality. The cast is amazing. Fassbender is just doing his best, like Alec Guinness, and Kate's great, and Pierce Brosnan, what a great late career renaissance we're having with him. Almost like I can't
from
believe
your beloved Mobland. That's right.
Did you stick with that?
I sort of did. I actually might finish it while I'm here. I have some time on my hands. So yeah.
Okay, fair. Anyway, I just thought it was like exceptional and clever, and I thought it would be a bigger thing for people who are always clamoring for more adult fare. But the other thought I had, and I wanted to get your quick thoughts on that, is Soderbergh is so ruthlessly efficient with these expert adult entertainments that there is a slight feeling that's a little bit zipless, right? It's like seamless. It's almost too good and too fast. And part of me is like, it's just the David Holmes score just kind of jazzing it into abstraction, like was there any there, or is it just a high quality Saturday night watch?
I think it's a fair thing to say that he may be a victim of his own consistency, which is a weird thing to say for somebody who tries so many different formal experiments.
Yeah.
Earlier this year, he's already released 2 films this year. Presence was the other one, which was a haunted house film told from the POV of the ghost. And it's just it's basically these roving, sometimes fisheye lens shots of this family interacting. Not unbeknownst to them, there is a phantom in the house. And
are you a big ghost guy? Do you believe in ghosts?
No, I don't really.
I know Bill is.
I haven't had a super ton of palpable experience with them though, but I enjoy their work on screen.
But the reason why this movie suddenly sounds
it's kind of like dinosaurs. Like I'm sure they existed, but like it's more. It's.
Oh, you're sure? Huh?
I'm sure. Huh. Yeah.
Okay.
Although I could be convinced otherwise in this economy.
I think there's some empowered people ready to make the strong case against them. My thing about ghosts, which is why this movie seems interesting to me, is that I just feel like it would be the most boring thing in the world. Like actually watching people just sort of, second screen while watching Conan O'Brien Must Go, I feel like that would be not a really entertaining way to spend the afterlife.
But I feel like
they're not focused enough.
There's a lot of emotional stuff that happens in that movie, but in Presence and in Black Bag as well. But there's a way in which Soderbergh is kind of making films now that, you're right, has a kind of like, it almost has a remove. And I don't know whether I'm sure with a guy who's as thoughtful about everything that he's doing, there is a reason for, say, like, the way he would block a scene, the way he shoots a scene, whatever kind of coverage he gets out of it. But it does sometimes feel not like a copy of a copy. I think you're right. I think a little bit arid, a little bit distance, a little bit zippy or zipless. And even though I love it, I do think that he's like hit that nail a couple of times.
There's a version of this movie, because the script is so good and the cast is so good. There's a version of the movie that I feel like if it was a little less bloodless, like if the person making it was passionate about, I don't know, spycraft or love as war or whatever, that it would hit different and be like a significant movie. But then again, this feels like an argument from 1989. Like, I don't know if there's a weighty, thoughtful spycraft, but also how we live our lives now film audience anymore, other than on this podcast.
I think they're all watching television, and that is a good segue for what we're going to talk about later. So today on the show, we're going to talk about The Paper, the Office spinoff that just had its first trailer released. We're going to talk a little bit about the shakeup at Paramount. Andy and I are not necessarily casting our industry insider flag up, but we do have an observation about some of the people that they've brought on at Paramount since Skydance finished its acquisition, and they did with their merger. And then also we're going to be talking about a show that I think is going to probably, if I had to guess, show up on both of our top 10s, which is a series called Eastern Gate, which is on Max, HBO Max. It came out in January. It was recommended by critics. It was recommended by Tracy Letts. I neglected it. And then I've just binged it over the last couple of days. Andy's watched a bunch of the episodes. So we're going to talk broadly about Eastern Gate and how it's just exactly what we wanted right now.
Today's the day we'll make the case for it. It will be spoiler free. And then maybe we'll circle back after we finish the first season, which is a very, very, very manageable 6 episodes.
Very tight 6. Greenwald, this Paper trailer. So this is going to be an original. I think it's initially going to be released on Peacock. The first 4 episodes are going up on Peacock in September at some point. And then they're going to do 2 a week going forward. And by all accounts, I think it's also going to wind up on NBC at some point, right? Like this will probably be something that they're cross-promoting in that way.
I haven't heard that as a confirmed fact. I think it's probably safe to assume that everything is cross-platform these days to a degree that I don't even know if it's being covered half the time when things just pop up places. But yes, it is announced and presented as a Peacock original, which I think is probably helping it, honestly, to fly a little bit under the radar, considering the imprimatur of its creator.
Yeah, so this is where I wanted to actually go. You have something that you are marketing openly as a continuation of The Office, in so much as it is the documentary crew who followed Dunder Mifflin for years and years.
And famously, the best part about that show is the crew. Love the crew. Thrilled about that.
Finally happen upon another subject, which is this Ohio local newspaper that they start documenting. That is, I think, owned by perhaps tangentially like an offshoot of Dunder Mifflin, because I think it is like a paper company, subsidiary.
Do you think, and I'm sorry to get into the weeds before we even get onto the field, but like, do you think this documentary crew has spent the last 10 years just like hustling grants, emailing Sheila Nevins, being like, no, we can do it again?
Well, they always had the Corporation for Public Broadcasting to fall back on.
That's the thing.
You know what I mean?
I was like, thank God they sunk their teeth into something right before the safety net went away.
Yeah, if all else fails, I could be an usher at the Kennedy Center.
Because like even the great like Frederick Wiseman, that was really good by the way. Even the great Frederick Wiseman is just like, I will make an 8-hour film about the Idaho State Legislature. Doesn't take 10 years to do it. I don't think.
I assume that they've probably like had some. They did some shorts. Maybe they did some true crime for Netflix in the interim. But this crew, whoever they are back, and they're covering a local newspaper.
My uncle is the founder of Moderna, and he says I can get a summer job. Anyway,
a local Ohio newspaper that's down on its luck, as all local newspapers pretty much are. Mm-hmm. And in an effort to revive their fortunes, they hire a new editor-in-chief, played by Domo Gleason, who is using an American accent. I will note that because one of his co-stars, Sabrina Impacciatore, right? From White Lotus, gets to be. I'm on pins and needles waiting to see what accent she was going to whip out. And she's just going White Lotus in it. To
be clear, I think that's her English.
Yeah, but her accent is Italian accented English.
So you were holding Sabrina to a standard where you thought she'd bust out like Portuguese? Like,
no, I thought she was going to open her mouth and be like, hey guys, do you like looking at TikTok? Like, I didn't think she was going to be like, oh, I love to blog.
Again, I'm just trying to center your viewpoint here. Like, do you feel like American papers are for Americans?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I keep an eye track, honestly. So one of the things I'm doing with my mom right now is we are rewatching Band of Brothers. And it is stunning how many people in Band of Brothers are, in fact, not United States paratroopers, but are British actors or Irish actors or whatever. So it's always funny to see like 4 guys who are like, hey, how is the streets of Chicago in the summer? Because they're just like hanging on for dear life. So I was curious what Sabrina was going to bring. I'm very excited. I loved her in White Lotus. Anyway, Domhnall Gleeson plays the newly hired editor-in-chief of this newspaper. Frankly, seems like a Jim Michael hybrid, where he is at once the like, can you get a load of this guy, and also the main character, like the sort of it's going to rise and fall with him.
Earnest and perhaps romantic lead as well. Yeah.
2025, journalism and the newspaper industry gone through some convulsions even since this show probably was conceived.
It's true.
What did you think of the trailer?
I thought the trailer was very, very, very pleasant. And I mean that as genuinely a compliment. I thought that you could feel the Greg Daniels of it. I mean, Greg Daniels he's the person who adapted The Office for American television, and he's back at it, this time with Michael Coman, I believe is his co-conspirator.
And he's worked on Nathan For You. Yeah.
So the way you could feel it, I think, are in the healthiest possible ways. It's not just the blocking and the camera setups and the fact that it's just like, once again, we're mockumentary observing something. It was in the faces of the secondary and tertiary characters. Like, I think, I recognized Alex Edelman, who has a successful stand-up career. He's on the show. But other than that, everyone else had that guy or that gal faces. Not super polished, but nice looking. You want to spend time with them. It seemed like the lessons that were learned. And what's interesting about this for me is I've been recently rewatching The American Office with my kids. And like with other comedies that you watch in hindsight, you can be like, we don't need to start with the first one. We could start like a little bit into season 2. And the lessons learned in real time that you can see in season 2 of The Office, just like you can in season 2 of Parks and Rec, is a show finding its voice and finding its strength in the power of its ensemble.
It's so funny that you say this, just because yesterday my mom asked to watch Monty Python's Flying Circus, and I had like a 5-minute personal conversation about whether we should start with the first one. And I was like, it's just in the back of your head. You're like, well, I miss certain things. And you're like, it's Monty Python. No,
but this is relevant because I keep wanting to introduce my kids to Monty Python because I want them to be bullied as much as I was. And the problem with it is, especially for this generation, which is, well, you know what? I'm going to stop this. I was about to say this generation, which does its best with like, best ofs, clip shows, like impatience. And that said, like, I'm the one who's really, really enjoying the 3 best clips from the most recent Good Hang with Amy Poehler and the Jonas Brothers. Sorry, Kaya, but like, I am the problem. I'm enjoying the clips as well. Monty Python, for example, is a show where you're like, I want them to hear the hits or see the hits.
Yeah.
And if you turn on season 3, episode 7, you might get like, the hide and seek Olympics, but you're also going to get like Terry Gilliam just like J-O-ing in a closet with a bunch of old issues of Reader's Digest cutouts. Yep. And it's a tough sell for an 8-year-old, let alone an 80-year-old. So anyway,
you were watching Office with your daughters and you didn't know whether to start at the beginning.
This just felt like a very gentle, promising show that understands. The trailer suggested that there isn't going to be a long on-ramp to potential success. It felt very homey already in the trailer, which I think is the goal. And I think it's also smart that this is why I was harping on it before, it being a Peacock original, because it feels a little bit like just smart programming. People, it's certainly, the folks, the big brain Brads at Peacock understand that what drives their service is A, Kaya watching Bravo content.
That's right.
And B, nostalgia sitcom good vibes, right? Like let's just spend time with these shows that we love. It kind of feels nice that the mandate for the show is to slot in with previously existing good hang vibes, as opposed to we need to reinvent the format or be as noisy as possible to grab what remaining eyeballs are left on broadcast television.
Yeah, I think that, like the idea of even like, I'm sure that you wrote your fair amount of The Office is about to be back blog posts back in the day at Grantland, but the idea.
Do you remember that I reviewed the entire Thursday night lineup every Thursday and Friday?
You were incredibly mentally healthy back then. You've really improved.
I'm much better now, yeah.
But even the idea of like doing a trailer breakdown for the paper or for The Office would have been absurd back then. You wouldn't be like, oh, what Easter eggs are there? There is an Easter egg in this one where Oscar from the original Office seems to have caught on with this Toledo newspaper. So it seems like his career is sort of plateaued in some ways, or maybe it's a lateral move to go from Dunder Mifflin to the Toledo newspaper. But yeah, I mean, I'll be curious to see what connective tissue they try to have with The Office and whether or not they pull any Pam Beesly emergency breaks to get like some sweeps week kind of stuff. But honestly, I'm really looking forward to it. Gleason's great. Even if it's kind of like trying to bail out a canoe full of holes, I do like stuff set in newspapers. And it's a charming little trailer, and I'm really excited for the show.
I think it's going to pleasantly surprise people.
There you go.
Which I don't know. I don't know if that's what the log line of our chat would have been when it was announced.
Aside from you guys, your daughters, they never checked out Summer I Turned Pretty, right?
Well, my older daughter, was at sleepaway camp. I feel like
that might have.
I feel like she's aware.
Okay,
but
I'm aware.
No.
I'm aware. Let's just put it that way. It's a big show in my house. Do you know the first episode of the 3rd season had 25 million viewers?
Sorry. What are we doing? Do you think
that's like more than like the NBA finals?
What do you think the first 5 minutes of our podcast, in which I talked about Steven Soderbergh's recent output, recent through April, did? Like, just in terms of like swerving into the zeitgeist.
Well, I think if we switched the topics, this podcast would be more successful. If we like flipped them and it was like, it's TSITP summer.
Okay. All right. What do you have to say about this show?
I get it. It's compelling. It's compelling stuff. I mean, I think that like a lot of younger skewing shows, I'll say this, my wife loves this show and is very invested in the central romance or romantic triangle between Conrad Fisher, his brother Jer, and this girl Belly, Isabella. And these two brothers are kind of vying for her love.
Whoa, wait, that's something, no wonder we don't understand the show.
Because we're
As
only
children. This is, we
so
got all
my
the
wife,
bellies.
but she's just like, I'm in paradise. You know, and I'm if it needs to be said, I'm Team Conrad. I don't think that's much of a competition, but we'll see where Jenny Han takes us over the course of the next couple of months. We just had a very electrifying Conrad POV episode. So the streets are chatting about that.
Is it fisheye lens, like he's a ghost haunting the other story? So recently, I've been looking.
It's a small local newspaper.
I've been watching. Like, this is also a sign of my mental decline this summer. I think that I now am like fully just shrug emojiing and watching a lot of the branded content that I'm being serviced. So like, I definitely have thoughts about Dave Franco and Alison Brie's together marketing campaign. So, but like the fact that like actors have to do such specific hijinks all the time. I have a point to this, by the way.
Yeah.
So for example, there was like a lad Bible or bro Bible or whatever that is thing that like David Corenswit.
But yeah, you have to be specific.
It's like Old Testament or New Testament, whatever. It's just the Bible. So it's Corenswit and Nicholas Hoult doing their Superman promo tour, and the conceit was they each had to eat beloved snack foods from each other's home country, and I watched like all 11 minutes of it, even though it is just dreadful. Because
What's
they get
up with you, man? But when I'm like, do you want to watch X? You're like, oh, who has the time?
But this is the X, the horror movie, or Elon Musk's social media platform
show. Yeah.
I'm busy. I'm busy on Bro Bible, dog. I'm reading from the hymnal. But my question was genuinely, do you think us watching young coded content that is actually popular, like Chris and Andy sample Wednesday season 2, would that do numbers, Kaya? Or would it, even if it's the equivalent of David Corenswit being forced to eat a Kraft single of American cheese, and you can see on his face how disordered his eating became to become Superman?
Well, this is actually, you bring up a good point. I want Kaya to answer whether or not you and I weighing in more heavily on Summer I Turned Pretty would change our demo. But when a movie, let's just say like Fantastic Four, it doesn't quite live up to financial expectations, right? Like whether you think it flopped or died on the vine or whatever. I mean, it did very well the first weekend and is now kind of cratering a little bit. When that happens, do you think Vanessa Kirby and Pedro Pascal are like, I can't believe I had to do the Vanity Fair lie detector test all for nothing? You know, like,
yes.
I wonder if there will be like a pivot where it's like, you know, everybody has to do Hot Ones and all these goddamn shows and all these little things. And then when they get through it and their movie doesn't do well, are they like, can I have my life back and not pet puppies while answering like relationship quiz questions? Like,
yes, except for the fact that Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, and Evan Moss-Backrack were doing this nonsense while they were furloughed from year 3 of making another version of the same movie.
Yes.
Right? Like, this was their vacation from being these people that have been roundly accepted by the global movie-going public. You know, it's not like I bet this was a weirder week on set, I guess, in London is what I will say. Only because I think that they were probably looking for a little injection of. Wait,
what do you mean? Are they all? Oh, because they're shooting Doomsday now.
Yeah, they've just been shooting it. And
I thought you were like they're shooting Fantastic Four Part 2 now.
Second steps? No, I wish. I loved it.
I'm going through the list of headlines here for us that I wanted to hit.
Okay.
This is just really, honestly, this is for the heads. I just need to address this really quickly. Leonardo DiCaprio is apparently the price tag to get Heat 2 made. Matt Bellany talked about this a little bit in his column, what I'm hearing. But man submitted a screenplay reportedly to Warner Brothers, and he's like, that will be 200.
Michael Mann, by the way.
Michael Mann. Mann does not often submit screenplays. He likes to he likes to do a little bit of a draft, take a walk, you know, fix some notes.
Check Bro Bible for what man should do.
Michael Mann submitted his Heat 2 screenplay to Warner Brothers, and he was like, here you go, and that's going to be $200 million to make this. they balked. Apparently, they are trying to get Apple involved as a partner on the project. And one of the ways in which this can go from a fever dream that me and my collective brethren are having to an actual film is if Leonardo DiCaprio, apparently, who's expressed some interest, signs on to be a part of the film and act in it. I think the chatter seems to be suggesting that he would play young Neil, young Robert De Niro, which is interesting because Leonardo DiCaprio is 50. And when Robert De Niro made Heat, he was 52. So unless Leonardo DiCaprio is doing the John Voight character,
or doing the Irishman, and just
I don't know, but like I suppose you could say like you could make him look younger. If anybody could look younger, I'm sure it's Leonardo DiCaprio. But it is pretty interesting that this is being at least elevated to like Matt's and Trade's level of discussion.
For what it's worth. And it's worth a lot in terms of my own desperate hope and optimism. 50 looks a lot younger than it used to.
Oh my God. He doesn't look a day over 42.
That's not what my children said when they saw the One Battle for Another trailer.
Really?
I brought this up on the pod when you were away, but like the fact, you know how like
it's interesting what you'll let them watch.
They played it before Superman and Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
So there's like varying levels of psychic destruction that one could do to a child if one, as a parent. And I don't traffic in that sort of thing. I don't lean over and say like, Santa Claus isn't real or whatever. But leaning over and saying, that's Jack from Titanic had a similar effect. Like the vehemence with which my daughter said, no.
No, it's not Jack,
core.
Or no, I don't want to see a film based on Thomas Pynchon's Vineland. Okay.
No, they wanted Vineland, but they wanted it to be much more book accurate.
Yeah, right. More of a sort of text there.
But as a Heat connoisseur, would you accept this tax? Like, do you think it's worth it? Could Leo play that part?
Yeah,
and who would he be?
They would figure it out.
Who would he be taking it? Because we still don't know. There was all the rumors of Austin Butler. It's Bernthal. It's
Driver. It's Jeremy
it's
Allen
Evan
White.
Moss-Backrack. It's Jeremy Allen White.
It's like the Bear cast meets the like White Noise cast. I don't know. I mean, like I think that I will believe that this project happens when they are like, look at this, it's shooting, basically like on set paparazzi photos. Just like the same thing with the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood sequel, where I was like, "There's no fucking way this is happening," and they're shooting it for 7 months in LA. And Greenwald,
I can walk over there.
Yeah, so I want to believe, but I won't get hurt. Refuse to get hurt by it. And
I appreciate that.
Giving Michael Mann $200 million right now is not a guarantee of return on investment. So
I will say that I recently rewatched a film, Miami Vice. I'm not sure if you've ever seen it, and I did Google the cost of Go Fast boats. And they are not reasonable. Like there's no version of it where you can get like the more affordable Trader Joe's version of the boat.
Trump's tariffs on fast kick in. Just on going fast at all. Yeah.
Anything over $60. Can I ask you, since Big Picture is on hiatus, can we just burn through like your absolute fast Rorschach test back of the napkin response to the 2 trailers of movies with full names in the title?
Ella McCay and Jay Kelly.
Yes.
Yeah. Ella
First
McCay,
of all, congratulations. This is a great week for Irish people, I guess.
Ella McCay's the new film from James L. Brooks. It's been in production for, it seems like quite a while, and it stars, now I get confused because her name is
Emma Mackey.
Emma Mackey, Ella McCay. Emma Mackey, Jamie Lee Curtis, Woody Harrelson.
Albert Brooks, Iowa Debris.
Brooks, yeah, a lot of people. And is about a young woman who I think becomes governor and also works out some family issues that she has. And it's, Brooks is the master at large ensemble dramedies. And so that's what this looks like. I think it's funny to kind of in the same way we're talking about The Paper, it's funny to watch a trailer for a James L. Brooks movie. It's like, this is not going to be The Odyssey. It's not going to feel like a major motion picture event. It really doesn't portray whether or not it's going to be a good film or not. He is an aging man, but that doesn't mean that he can't pull this off. And I think his sensibility and his comic timing and his way with actors hopefully is a timeless skill and a talent. And I remain hopeful for this film, even though I think it's Jamie Lee Curtis when she's like, "You're 34 years old and you're the governor." I was like, what the fuck is happening?
Do you think it's the Kathy Hochul story? Is that like... Is that
no,
because
Kathy had to wait for decades, man, for her spot. What did you think of Ellen McCay?
I mean, I think I'm with you because, like, when you reach a certain age, aka the age of people who are even interested
aka the age of Neil and Heat.
aka the age of Neil and Heat 2, the prequel. A movie that speaks in the James L. Brooks cadence is such a rarity, and it is nostalgic. And the real answer I have for you is I wish someone half of James L. Brooks's age had the juice and gravitas to make a movie like this with this cast.
Sure.
But we don't live in that world, so I'm happy that he gets a chance to do it again in the spirit of, like, you know, I am a fan of great masters just kind of rewriting the same book.
Making ladies governor, yeah.
Or just, and finally just getting woke, in the capital cities of America. That said, like Julie Kavner narrating, and then like it's about her mother, but then it's also, it did seem a little loosey-goosey.
Yeah.
But I like this Emma Mackey. She seems
I'm going to
good.
let Stove God cook here about Jay Kelly.
Look, I mean, Noah Baumbach is old enough to play Neil in Heat 2, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think he's actually a little bit on the senior side for that. But this is one of my favorite genres of movie, not just like the Noah Baumbach thinky movie, but the aging star sort of struggles with what was it all for. I love this shit. This looks so good to me. And I especially like, my favorite George Clooney performances are when he just plays a different shading of his own charismatic self. I think that's his best skill. And he's clearly playing a version of himself here. Like, and we were texting about this. I've never been a big Sandman guy.
Yeah.
You will not be hearing a review of Happy Gilmore 2 on this podcast because it should surprise none of the people who wanted to pants me when I watched Monty Python then or want to pants me now. I never saw Happy Gilmore 1. And when I found out that it wasn't a prequel, I didn't know what to do with myself. All that said, I am a huge late blooming fan of Adam Sandler, the human being, as he appears on like the Conan O'Brien, Mark Twain thing. And he seems like a really nice guy to the people he works with and his family. And I just feel like Baumbach was like, these are two beloved performers and archetypes. Let's just let him cook with an incredible cast around him. And the great Emily Mortimer co-writing the script. Like, I'm checking for this movie. I'm very excited about it.
It looks really good. I think it would have been funny if Charlie Kaufman had made this movie and they just called it George Clooney.
Boy, this is why you're the best.
Yeah, right.
You fixed it.
It's obviously like a knowing kind of wink at Clooney's own celebrity. But I think I hope this one works out for Noah. You know what I mean? It's been a minute. White Noise didn't quite click with the streets.
Are you worried about how their household finances are doing? Or are you...
I think they got that Narnia dough. You know what I mean?
I feel like Narnia is going to be fine.
Jay Kelly is going to come out on Netflix in the fall, I believe, and it will probably be an awards contender. It brings me to our next subject that I wanted to throw at you, which is Netflix adjacent. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the pod, Skydance completed its acquisition of Paramount, which just shout out to Daddy Dave, shout out to his daddy, Larry. Shout out to all the great people at Skydance and how they're working out journalistic ethics these days. I think
seems awesome. Seems like it went really smoothly, and they all seem like they're on the up and up.
They're going to split the company into 3 divisions. So we got studios, direct to consumer, which is always my favorite because I am the consumer and they just go direct to me, and TV media. And of those divisions, Andy, I actually want to talk about the DTC because the recently released org chart of Paramount Skydance, or Paramount, a Skydance company, you'll see the name Cindy Holland. Now, longtime listeners of the pod may remember us discussing Cindy Holland. I don't think she's ever been on the show, but she's been discussed because she was essentially one of the architects, if not the architect, of Netflix's foray into streaming television when they went from red envelopes to something you watched on your TV or laptop.
Wait, can I do it? She helped them go from red envelopes to red carpets with her award-directed prestige fare.
Yes.
Go on. How was that?
Let the guy host twice, and he's just like, I know better.
Yeah.
Cindy Holland is going to be basically overseeing it's a pretty murky org chart, but I think it's safe to say Cindy Holland's making a lot of streaming television decisions at Paramount.
That is safe to say. This is, in terms of like the insider industry news, she's who the agencies are talking to again.
Yes.
She is leading that.
Paramount Plus and Paramount in general, I think most people think of the Sheridan universe and Star Trek universe. And those are definitely the staples of that. We're talking specifically about Paramount Plus and that area of the company rather than the Comedy Central, MTV, VH1, BET kind of collection of linear cable channels that they have. So other than those two sort of staples, the Taylor Sheridan stuff, the Star Trek stuff, some Robert and Michelle King shows.
There's a third plank of what they feel is working for them, and that's the Butterworth barrio. You know, I think that's
right.
So that would be the agency. That would be Mobland, I believe he's working on. So that's considered to be like a successful and safe,
an international play to some extent, I bet. Yeah, right. So they've got these three planks, and Cindy Holland is, for lack of a better way of describing her, someone with really good taste. Yes. And over the years at Netflix, here are some of the shows that she helped bring to the screen. Obviously, House of Cards, which was their big flagship show for the first few years of Netflix's streaming TV endeavor. Orange is the New Black, a frequent award winner. The Queen's Gambit, Scott Frank's miniseries that would become a global phenomenon. Stranger Things, which remarkably is wrapping up this year. And in the interim between its two seasons, I saw that somebody had basically wrote us an email that was like, you guys should track all the stuff that's happened in the world since the last season of Stranger Things.
Jesus.
Mindhunter, Russian Doll, the OA, The Crown, etc. So somebody who takes swings, takes chances. In the case of things like The Crown and Mindhunter, writes big checks to big-brained creators and producers and directors who have a vision of what they want to do. Famously, we had heard that large chunks of season 2 of Mindhunter were reshot for Fincher's specifications, and Netflix was just like, sure, whatever you guys need, that is the kind of relationship having and building that I think you get with her.
Yeah.
So right now, I don't think you are a very big PP watcher, big Paramount Plus watcher. Every once in a while, I get you to fire up Landman or Lioness or whatever. But for the most part, that's my neighborhood. If I told you, or if I asked you, hey, Andy, in 2.5, 3 years when we're sitting here, Paramount Plus is currently the 7th most popular streamer by a lot of metrics. So it's not doing great. But if I told you in 2.5 years, if I asked you where is it now, would you say Paramount Plus has made 5 shows that we loved over the last 2 years? Would you say there's been a huge growth explosion because they've nailed a couple of big tent poles? Where do you think this goes from here?
Well, I think Dan Bongino's talk show probably contributed to a lot of new subscribers, as well as Kash Patel's Crime Hunters.
Are those guys both? They're not on Paramount Plus, are they?
Well, the way these things worked out. No, they're in the administration of the United States government, but I assume... No, well, okay. Well, jokes aside, I think this is a perfect landing spot for the correct executive in this moment. Now, I say this, I've never met with Cindy Holland. I don't know her at all. I've never worked with her. But she does have a sterling reputation, and as someone who works fairly and is pleasant to work with, but also someone who is still driven by actual good taste, which many people who work in TV have, but not many are empowered to use in their day-to-day business decisions anymore. So she was the perfect person to build up Netflix's brand because as I was trying to do in my my dress rehearsal segue that I was doing for you about the red carpet. To get the attention and to get the respect and to get stature in the industry, she was the person to do it. And she was programming things that other people wouldn't, in a way not too dissimilar from what AMC did when it bought the scripts that other people wouldn't, that turned into Mad Men and Breaking Bad. It's been communicated to me that Orange is the New Black is her number one baby. in the sense that that was a passion project for Genji Cohen that she loved also, and she empowered and programmed and turned it into an enormously successful show for the service, and also one that won many awards, best case outcome. Her voice and vision was certainly not faltering, but Netflix's own direction and mandate changed, and she was a victim of the pivot to the gourmet cheeseburger era in the Netflix cafeteria.
The Bella Bajaria coined term.
What Paramount has working for it, Sheridan, Butterworth, Star Trek, is all of the things that Cindy Holland traditionally hasn't really cared that much about. I mean, maybe there are shows that she likes in that realm, but I think it's a good match where she's not only being hired for her gravitas and stature in the industry, but she's being hired to Orange is the New Black, Paramount Plus. Again, not specifically that show, but to put it in like industry terms, to broaden the audience share, broaden the appeal of the service. So I think that could be very interesting. I don't actually know what that will mean in terms of shows. Should we look at prior relationships she's had with people like Genji Cohen? Maybe.
I'm sorry, I'm just distracting myself because I was thinking about like if part of the settlement with Trump was he was like, we got to bring back porn stash. I got to know what's going on with that guy.
I mean,
wait, Orange is the New Black, but like a POV from his perspective.
And he's the hero.
Yeah.
I think that's very possible. Yeah, so I think it'll be interesting, and at least in terms of like the ripple effect that it's had internally in the industry, people are kind of jazzed about a quote unquote new player coming online, and in the sense that like it has been better than it was the last 2 years in terms of a marketplace, but anytime there's like a buyer who is now empowered to like buy stuff, people are getting kind of jazzed about that. So
yeah, I think my 2 cents are basically that it was a much different landscape when she was going all guns at Netflix. But the thing that I'm very hopeful about as a TV watcher is that her instincts seem to take her to the thing that isn't currently on television. What is something that people don't have right now that they might want? What is something that is next? What is something that could be not a new franchise, but maybe like the kind of show that you would refer to as we want something like Stranger Things. We want something like Mindhunter. Well, nobody wants that because it's just expensive and only 9 people watched it. But, like I think she's brave. And I think if I had a major complaint about TV right now, it's that we're just in a real moment of stasis creatively where I think you're feeling, whether it's the after effects of COVID and the strikes or whatever, you're just feeling a lot of shows that feel like bland rewrites of a show you just watched 7 months ago. Yeah. Now, hands up, some of those shows I really like because there's just some times where I'm like, I want my stories. I like spies or I like cowboys or like whatever, and it doesn't really matter to me if it's Terminalist or Terminalist Dark Wolf, but I think for the purposes of pushing the medium forward, it's good to have people like this in places of power so that they can take a risk, and you get something like the OA, which might not have been everybody's cup of tea, but was really like clearly the work of a creative mind going for it with some backing.
I'm very interested to see if she is being empowered to, even on a smaller scale, do the kind of creator investing that she was able to do at Netflix.
Like
saying,
Natasha
David Fincher,
Lyonne and this person.
You go. Aziz Ansari with Master of None, which was a huge hit for them, both in terms of stature and awards and attention. The OA could be, what's interesting about a show like the OA is that it can be used as a representative of both sides of the same argument of like, look what you get when you empower an idiosyncratic creative, or look what you get when you empower an idiosyncratic creative. David Ellison, made his bones. His bones were fairly well set out for him at birth, but
that was his first birthday present. Bunch of bones.
It was just a big pile of bones. But like he backed, and again, I'm saying this out loud, it sounds insane as if this was some sort of a risky gambit, but he was like, yes, Tom Cruise, you should make more Mission Impossible movies at a time when other people weren't going to do that.
Yeah,
right?
but when Tom Cruise is that's going to be $500 million because like we're going to do this, this, and this, and we're going to write it around stunts, he's like, all right, I'll find the money.
Yeah, and when Trump says, let's start scripting 60 Minutes, he's like, sure. Look, I think he's an agreeable guy.
I'll lose the money. Yeah.
But regardless, I do think it's going to be interesting to see because, and I also understand why it would be an attractive opportunity. government payola aside, because it's interesting in the ways that it is not a quote unquote successful service yet, but it is extremely successful in the limited ways in which it has achieved success. So that does give her some freedom.
I'm just a little curious to know what is in the Paramount library that she might be in charge of developing. Is that like, I'm really just grasping it like the first thing that I think of when I see the Paramount Mountain, but like the Godfather universe, you know?
Well, they did make that.
They did the offer about the making of the Godfather,
Sure.
But I mean the actual Corleone family. Or
when I think of the Paramount Mountain these days, I think of ridiculousness.
Yes.
And is there a prestige show there? You know, it's possible.
In 2.5 years, are you going to be here talking to me about how you always wanted to be the showrunner?
How honored I am. 1,000,000%.
It's AI Chris being like, "You're so funny, Andy."
If I haven't been detained at some sort of facility by then, yes, I will be honored.
All right, let's talk about a show we love instead of just all this news, which is fine. There's a bunch of stuff coming up. Alien Earth is next week. Platonic is back. I kind of tapped out on the first season, but the second season has been getting really good reviews. That's the Seth Rogen, Rose Byrne show.
Thank you for saying that. I tapped out on the first season. Seth and Rose back in my life at brobible.com or whatever it is that I'm looking at.
So is this another you've gotten because they try snacks? You like it?
No, I just like them so much.
Okay.
And I did see the auto-playing trailer on the Apple TV, and I was like, I feel like maybe I kind of want this. This is my energy this summer. You know, I'm ready to go back to that show.
Coming up soon is Terminalist Dark Wolf, like I mentioned, which is the Taylor Kitsch prequel to Terminalist. And
no spoilers about why it's not a sequel.
I found some tattered Taylor Kitsch season tickets in the back of a drawer here, and they're still valid. So I think I might still check that out. I also saw that there's a show on Netflix coming out called Hostage, which stars Saran Jones as the Prime Minister of England and Julie Delpy as the President of France. And they're embroiled in some sort of like blackmail hostage situation, which basically sounds like The Bodyguard, but with Prime Ministers. Netflix.
Huh.
It's coming out in a few weeks. Obviously, The Paper and Task. Those are all the shows coming out. But right now, Andy and I don't really have something that we were super focused on. Like I mentioned earlier, Eastern Gate came highly recommended, but was just one of those things that fell through the cracks. It's a Polish spy thriller that was released by HBO Max in January. I'm going to do my best with the pronunciations of the names, but I apologize to any Polish speakers or people who care about pronunciations. It stars Lena Gora as a character named Iwa, who is...
you could say it's Eva.
Eva, okay. See, this is a dialogue, you know?
Yeah.
I don't have to walk the plank alone.
It's also Donal Gleason.
What did I say?
In the original Polish. You said the M.
I thought the N was silent.
No, the M's silent.
Well, make up your mind. You know what I mean? I'm really sorry about that. He's my countryman, but...
it's okay. We're good.
Lena Gora stars as the sort of main Jane Bauer kind of spy of the show.
There it is.
And this show gave me some 24 vibes. This show gave me some early 24 vibes, in so much as the action is actiony. Like when it turns up, when this spy thriller turns into a spy action sequence, it's not just like procedural ticky-tack stuff. It's like kicking and fucking punching and shooting and blowing stuff up. So action heads will be served here. It is obviously in Polish and in Russian, and it's about a hotspot that I honestly had never heard of before, but now I'm obsessed with, called the Suwałki Gap, which is it's right on the border of Poland, Lithuania, and Belarus. And God damn it, Andy, if the Russians don't want their little hands on that.
And so just to place it in the real world context, the show is set very specifically. And one of the best things about the show, I think, is its extreme specificity. It sets up scenes with the location, the date, and like the latitude and longitude and shit. It makes you really feel like you're zeroed in on it. And it's set in 2021. And it basically, the thought behind it is that Russia is getting very, very aggro, and Russia is going to do something. Is it going to be Ukraine?
I'm glad we just wrapped that. We got that all taken care of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Spoiler.
So we can watch it as a period piece.
Well, spoiler, Ukraine is what it did, but the other alternatives were the Baltic states or this, using their basically occupation already of Belarus to take out part of a NATO ally, to claim this important shipping lane and move missiles there and really fuck shit up. This show is so sick
It's so
This
good.
show is so watch coded that I would just like to personally apologize for not getting onto it sooner, and also not realizing my deep, deep partisan passion for the Polish people and their long ongoing fight for freedom. Sorry about that. Wasn't really checking for it, but it's pretty gnarly.
This is like when I turn this on, it features an incredible opening sequence, opening 20 minutes of the first episode. It's quite graphic, but it's quite gripping. It felt like throwing a nicotine patch on. Like I was like, I'm automatically regulated. This is so well done. The pacing is immaculate. Like it's considered, but it's never belabored. It never feels like it's filler. It never feels like we have some plot line that utterly doesn't matter to the main thrust of the story. It is such a great white shark. It's just a hunting machine. And it is like stripped down, but feels emotionally like alive, because I think the performances, especially Lena Gore's, are so good.
I think that's really well said. For people trying to wrap their heads around it and our description of it, it does take some of the best pieces of a lot of shows that we've liked before. There's the global international espionage from a surprising point of view, as in not one of the major players that we loved from Le Bureau, which became the agency. Eva, who is a Polish spy, is pretty quickly in the series placed under political cover as a Polish consul in Minsk. And there are elements of that remind me of Borgen, or any of these other sort of like Nordic political dramas that people may have checked out over time.
Yeah, she has the pantsuit.
It's really just the fashion. And then there's the more surprising action parts that, to me, people's mileage may vary. I think there's a subset of people who might not be inclined to turn on Max and immediately change the dub setting to original Polish, which, side note, you have to keep an eye on, because then when I did watch... You have to hit
refresh on Max to get that to come up sometimes. Just a UX note, yeah.
No, that's not my concern. My concern is you do the right thing, you put it on in its original Polish, and then you decide to unwind with, as I said, an episode of Conan O'Brien Must Go, and it too will be in Polish.
Oh, yeah. Also, you can't watch Bro Bible while you're watching the Eastern Gate, because like you'll just lose what's happening.
You can't look up and down, exactly. But I was, like the opening episode might be a litmus test of what kind of show you want it to be, because I found it to be almost distractingly American, in the sense that it starts with its noisiest set pieces. The legend that Eva is under when we meet her is very, very different from the woman she is revealed to be in the character she plays in the subsequent episodes. So in retrospect, it's an incredibly cool and gripping and from a character perspective, like very, very insightful and interesting opening. But my only hesitation on the show was, wait, what even is this? It felt American TV in the sense that the pilot isn't necessarily instructive of what it will be in series over the next 5 episodes. The second episode for me is when it locked in and features a set piece at the end of the second episode. That's when she gets
into her secondary cover as the consul, yeah.
And what happens at the end of the second episode is electric. It's a set piece that is so, so exciting and gripping. And as you said, Chris, I think that was a really smart point. Like, any of the strands that were given are relevant in a way that also reminded me of Le Bureau. Like, there's such a deep bench of characters and a larger extending canvas of just places, worlds, issues that you were rewarded for sticking with it. And you start to feel really good when you recognize characters, even if, like, to your point, like I'm not entirely like my guy with the leather jacket and, who's a little bit tired of this shit.
Lang. Yeah, I think that's
Lang.
his name.
Okay, yes, his name is Lang. I didn't know that, but I still love him. Do you know what I mean? I was thrilled to see him.
Only sort of on a like superficial level grasping all the nuances of who's Belarusian and who is Russian, and it's starting to, as I almost finished the series here, it's becoming a little season. It's becoming a little bit more clear. I hope they do another season.
They are. It's renewed. It's renewed
awesome.
for a second season.
Yeah. Here's some other recommended. I recommend Eastern Gate if you like Atomic Blonde with Charlize Theron, which I do. If you like Homeland, early Homeland. If you like elements of John Wick, not entirely, but like I think it gets wicky at points. You
don't think Eva's a little ballerina-esque? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I mean. Like Wick expanded, not in like any kind of like the Continental and you have a gold coin, but just in her ass beating style, like
Jen Wick.
Yeah, Jen Wick. That's good.
Jennifer. Yeah.
Jane Bauer, Jen Wick, 24. Like it's not as melodramatic or kind of hysterically plotted. Like all of this stuff is like, what is a microaggression on the part of the Russian state? What is a false flag? What is like trying to provoke? What, like everything is about individuals trying to keep their nation states safe from nuclear war, but while doing it like, crossing certain lines. It's also at 6 episodes, it is one of the best binges I've seen this year where you're just like, I would watch this in a weekend, honestly.
It's very well directed. The director is Jan Matachinsky, who I don't know anything about. It seems like he's done documentaries before.
He was nominated for an Oscar.
For an Academy Award? I think I would have heard.
And Wojciech Bockenheim directed some of the episodes, and he is also one of the main writers, and I think is the creator, although I just don't quite grasp the nuances of Polish credits there.
What's really cool about it, I think, just from a global perspective and why we love watching international anything, though, is like you cannot replicate the psychological underpinnings of a spy show set in a country that is, quote unquote, in the way. That it actually is.
It's a great point.
Ground zero for the Clash of Nations. There is also no protective cover, and
it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt that it has all this brutalist architecture, and you're just like transported to this other part of the world that you don't get to visit.
But a part of the world that has been essentially fighting some version of this fight for centuries.
Yeah,
and there's a world weariness and an exhaustion with it that is just seeped into every frame and the color palette, and it's. All the references you made make it clear that the show is in conversation with and in negotiation with contemporary TV storytelling, but it is 100% of its place. And I'm so fired up about it. So you and I watched 4. I haven't finished yet. I'm going to finish, and then maybe we can circle back and talk to our listeners who've also checked it out. So kind
of a weird beat for us, because if we do a pod on Monday, which I hope to do, I think we'll talk about Eastern Gate a little bit more and maybe talk about Families Like Ours, which is a Netflix series from a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was May. Mm-hmm. From Thomas Vinterberg, who is a Danish director who made Another Round, which is that Mads Mikkelsen movie that was very critically acclaimed a couple of years ago. I loved that movie. And he made a movie, a series that I have seen compared to Eternaut and Station 11. So I thought we could check that out over the weekend. It's... I don't know how many episodes. I think that's 6 or 8 episodes. Just another classic watch, fact check. And
we don't know. No way of knowing.
It's just International Week here, I guess, on the watch while we get ready for Alien and everything else.
All you motherfuckers are on boats somewhere on Instagram. I see you. So
I see you on Bro Bible.
This is on their
I
socials.
See you challenging Joseph Quinn to a snack eating contest on Bro Bible.
This is our vacation. Just let us have this,
Thanks to Kaya, thanks to John, thanks to Andy. We will be back hopefully on Monday.
Watching Warsaw? You thinking it? Live show?
Before a Philly live show, we got to do Warsaw.
I think that makes sense.
Thanks to everybody. We'll talk to you soon.